Right, what is up, party people? Let's just get you wedged up. There we go. What is up, party people? So today is day, and we worked this out and I always forget. Where's my phone? So day 30 was... Right, day 31 was what we were about to do last week, which means that's day 32, which means that was day 33, 34, 35. Damn, are we on day 35? Yeah, so if that's 30, that's 31, that was 32, which means squat was 33, which means deadlifts yesterday were 34, so this is day 35. Damn, we're getting on, and I feel like I've probably messed up the order at some point, but we are doing our first pure gym session of the deload week. Nothing special, like a 215 double on bench. I think it's easy. I know it's easy. To be fair, I might have to recalculate the weight on bench because I think I did that when my max was like 240 and I've now added 12.5 kilos to that bench over the last block. So things have progressed in the way we want to, but things have still changed. We've got, it's not high bar. I forget what my variation is now. I think it's just like high bar volume stuff, I'll see. But yeah, got the pre-workout. And Gio's in the chat. And yeah, I mean, Thursday's just about the bench, really. Everything else is secondary. Accessories, squat, no one really cares. I don't. We're just there for the big bench. So I'm going to see off this. I'm going to have my chocolate square. And then we're going to boogie on down to the gym. So I'll see you in there. Catch. Is getting that nice bigger arch, and I think it's definitely got a lot to do with whether my shoulders are internally or externally rotated on the setup. So I just need to get more comfortable with both, you know, and regardless of whether I have a stronger setup than one or the other, I'll try and keep to being stronger for both. It's alright. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. You know, if we say I have suboptimal technique now, still the strongest bencher in Britain. So it's either or at the end of the day. All right. So I think for the variation, I'm going to call these high intent squats, but basically it's just tempo and pause. There's no specific tempo, it's however quickly I can go while still feeling like I have the full intention of my brace and my foot pressure, which are two things I really struggle with in my squat. So yeah, look at me making up variations on the go. Call me Einstein with this crazy hair. Well, that was a shitload of intent for sure. Whew. That was tiring. Okay, so my first rep was actually my worst. I was slightly too, basically, like convex in my back's too overextended in my torso, and I can feel the tightness that that's caused down here. It also caused me to go through a little bit of kind of like butt wink / hip rise, whereas my second and third reps I kept myself just a little bit more like tucked, and the movement looked really good. I wasn't, just stripper squatting every time, which was nice. So I think I'm going to do one more set of 3, call it 2x3 for today, and then just hit accessories, because that feels nice. So yeah, I'll see you for the accessories. Alrighty. Well, everybody, that signs out today's session. I accidentally did it a day early. I've been a bit bamboozled by being away the last 2 weekends coaching and about trying to sort out this weekend whether I am coaching and whether I'm not coaching. It's just been a lot to have on my plate, and that with all the new onboardings and all the business side of stuff that's going on, I just got lost in the sauce. So I ended up doing my Thursday session on my Wednesday, and to be fair, I don't feel that bad for it. I think having done it later in the evening as well kind of helps. Like I've had basically like a full day to recover rather than, you know, if I did a lunchtime. But would not recommend. I will be taking Thursday off, and yeah, in all honesty, like the double at 210 moves really nicely. The back offs, I started to really touch back on my old form. It's a bit weird feeling that old form because I definitely feel slightly more efficient with the newer form, but then I see the advantages of the more flared form. So I'll play around with it. I'll see if I can combine the two and make a new love child for bench. And then accessories were great. This like high intensity or high intention squat, just being really diligent of like, right, how slow do I want to go to make sure that I feel comfortable in the hold, that I'm stable, that I've got good foot pressure, and then building from there. I really enjoyed that. Accessories felt good. As you saw today, we had 2 biomechanical accessories. So the front foot elevated Zercher split squat and the single arm landmine press are both biomechanically advantageous accessories. They're to teach me about basically keeping good positioning whilst going through unilateral movement. So in one case, one leg movement and the other one arm. And I can feel like I'm much more unstable on my left side for the landmine, so I need to work on that. But yeah, it was a good session all in all. I'm really happy about that session. There's nothing that went wrong. I hit everything as I needed to, and I had a bit of self-exploration with technique, which I always enjoy. And then tomorrow we've got Friday. See, I nearly got caught up again. But Friday we've got the last day of the deload, which I think is like a 280 double or something on deadlifts, or 270 double. Let me have a look. Which will be conventional. Conventional's now going to be the new big boy. 275 double on conventional deadlift, which will be just like nothing on the bar, which is nice. I really want to get that 300 squat, that 250 2.5 bench, and that 340 deadlift. I think that'd be nice. But that does leave me 7.5 kilos short of my goal of 900. So it's going to have to be 307, 252.5, 340. That is the only acceptable thing for the end of July. But no, that is the end of the session. I hope your lifts stay big, your stresses stay small, and I'll see you for the next episode. Catch.